Jesus, what's it say? 0304? I gotta wear the darn thing. You think you'd be able to read it?
Oh, Dad, would you stop?
I can't sit here and move my lips up and down and have it dubbed later.
How's my hair look, Andy?
They're good. They're good.
Really?
Quiet on the set. I'm W.L. Bill Barrett, and I was president of the association in 1963. That's 55 years ago. Everything was in St. John. Power Commission, headquarters for the professional engineers, and anything else big was in St. John until J.L. Feeney brought Power Commission up. Then everything started to move up into Fredericton, where it should have been in the first place. Our office, by the way, was in the old CPR station, which is now Harbor Station. We only had a small council back in those days. I think about 3 from St. John, 2 from Fredericton. We used to drive down about once a month, and they gave me a chance to get away from the office. And a change, they say, is as good as the rest.
My name is John Bliss, and I became president of APEGNB, it was at that time, in 1980. We had to engage a new executive director. We made a short list of 2, and among them was Sheila McLeod, a mature female non-engineer, and the other person on the short list was a young male engineer. So he was looking for a fill-in job until he found something more appropriate. I said, well, boys, look, it's a slam dunk, clearly. Sheila McLeod is our candidate. And there were some resistance. And then I said, there wouldn't be lurking behind all these questions a little bit of MCP, would there? And they asked me, MCP, what do you mean? I said, with all the emphasis I could muster, I said, male chauvinist pig. And it was settled in about another 30 seconds. I'd hit the nail right on the head.
I'm Ed Smith. I was president in 1996.
And I'm Brent Smith, Ed's son. I was president in 2005 and president of Engineers Canada in 2011, 2012.
I felt that I was much more a part of the engineering profession when you see it from a whole different perspective when you're on council and when you're president. You appreciate the responsibility to make sure the public are well served by the profession, and you take that very seriously sometimes.
I was asked at a council workshop one time to play the devil's advocate. I got the attention of the room by challenging the position on the floor. We have a one-word explanation of how I interjected. It's common amongst those that were there that day, but can't be repeated. Horse.
My name is Bruce Broster. I was president in 2010. I am a professor at the University of New Brunswick. I teach in the geology department. I teach some engineering courses as well. I became the first geologist to be elected to president. We only had about 100 members that were geoscientists. I thought, well, I had little chance of being elected, but apparently there were several hundred engineers who had me as a professor and knew who I was. They felt that I could be trusted.
I'm Brian Barnes, and I was president in 2004 and 5.
And I am Jean Boudreau, formerly Jean Barnes. I was president 2012, 2013.
Otta Slogue, who some will remember, way back years ago when he and I were putting coats on after a funeral, said, "Are you going to the Iron Ring next week?" And I said, well, I hadn't thought about it. And he says, well, when you do, would you come early and give us a hand? So 40 years later, I was still a warden.
At one point, he was chief warden, head warden, whatever they called them. But at home, he was the great poobah, Grand Poobah, the guy from Fred Flintstone, the water buffalo guys with the fancy hat. That was Dad. He didn't necessarily get the respect at home that he was recognized for by the association.
Hi, I'm Paul Campbell. I was president of the association in 2015. Part of what attracted me to the job is that sometimes if a president has interest, it can be expressed through council policy and maybe a project or two here and there. I asked, I said, well, would climate change mitigation be a reasonable pet project to have? And certainly it was. And so we installed 50 solar panels on our building. That's been a pretty successful project. Of course, our CEO, Andrew McLeod, was very much behind it and very helpful. Other engineers were. So I'd say that was my favorite accomplishment of my term, along with the establishment of our Climate Change Committee, which is inputting into various sectors and various government agencies and collaborative groups trying to address the matter of climate change, because it had been on a concern of mine for a long time. So I got my chance to do my little bit during my term as president.